Well, the aim of today's video is to talk about surface fishing, a bit of upper layer stuff, but it would have been rude not to stick within the margin. As I first got here, seeing loads of fish just below the surface, but one off the bottom went first, so I thought I'd show you anyway. A nice mid-double to start the day, been in the water only a couple of minutes, simple bottom bait rig, but as I said, there's plenty just under the surface, a bit breezy today, and from what I've heard, they've been a bit finicky off the top, but we'll do our best. That's the main goal today, is to get some off the top. But if I put a sleeper rod out in the margin and a few more of these go off, I can't complain. Let's get it back and try and get them on the top. Well, with that extremely welcome fish slipped back, it's time to start on the actual surface fishing side of things. But before I do jump into that, please make sure that you are subscribed to us and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any future uploads from us. And also follow us on all the social media platforms coming up at the bottom of your screen right now. As I said, I have just had a fish off the bottom and I could easily keep sticking bottom baits out, and I'm sure I keep on having bites throughout the day. But surface fishing has fastly become my favourite method of fishing when the weather gets like this. When I was younger, I used to be really, not against it, but I just wasn't very good at it. So when I could see the fish and I wasn't catching them, I got really frustrated. Thought it was a method that just wasn't for me. Completely wrong. If you get it right, and it's easy to get right as well. It can still be frustrating, don't get me wrong, but fishing from off the surface, it's just such a adrenaline-filled way of fishing from. So that's why, although I'm going to keep that sleeper rod out in the margin for the occasional extra fish, hopefully, I really want to get him on the top. And the stuff I'm using today is the Nash Upper Layers kit. So to start with, we've got the riser pellets. It's something I've used a little bit before, not a lot. I've normally just gone straight down the dog biscuit route, and sometimes on waters where they're a bit finicky, which, as talking to the bailiff earlier, when I said I was going to be surface fishing, he said they have been finicky on here. This is where these can come in pretty handy because they're much smaller. Just like when you're loose feeding micro pellet, you want to get a bit more of a feeding frenzy without overfeeding them. That's what these do. They're sort of neutral buoyancy, some sink, some float, and they slick up the water. So they get the fish that are slightly lower in the water column to start coming up and hopefully start competitively feeding. And that is when you move over to the floaters. These are the slicker floaters, so again, they're pumped with oil as well, so to give a nice slick that tastes good for the fish. And this is what you want to be imitating with your hook bait as well, and actually gets them taking some of these more off the surface. So when you're really competitively feeding with these, that's when you want to get your bait out. To get the bait out, I've got a catapult because it's a fairly small venue. I should be able to get that stuff out quite easy. I've got the wind pushing into me. It's not a massive wind, so, but I'm going to have to pick my time to when I actually put the bait out. Moving over to hook bait, I've got the hookable floaters, the upper layer soft hookable floaters, and of course you can use imitation dog biscuits if you want, or you can whittle down, try and get on an actual dog biscuit, but you'll find that biscuits like this, the slicker floaters, are a bit tougher and you'll struggle to get them onto your hook bait, onto your rig. And moving on to the rig, something fairly simple again. I used to try and get my hairs as small as possible to get the hook bait as tight to the shank of the hook as possible. Made a lot easier now with the use of these zig screws. Now I've just done a session with Henry Lennon on zigs, so if you haven't seen that, please click the link below where he uses the same setup, obviously for zigs, but it's very similar principle when it comes to surface fishing. I'm not using the foam, of course, for this. I'm just using the actual zig screws, which slides over the hook of choice, floater claw, size 10, and it couldn't be simpler. You slide one of these screws on, then tie on your hook of your desired knot. I use just a simple 8-turn blood knot, tighten that down, trim it off, and then you slide this little hook screw straight over your hook bait, and you're done. All you got to do then is screw on a hook bait. And the hook link of choice is Zig Flow. So again, it's just whittled down to 0.28mm line. This is the 10-pound version. I'm using the same line on my actual reel as well, so whittling everything down. And that's the main principles of what I'm going to be doing today. Now I've got a few fish showing just in the margin to the left of me. Actually, there was quite a lot showing before I had that fish, which is why I was quick trying to get a little free line setup sorted, because I really wanted to get one quick, and then that rod bolted off, spooked them all off. But they are starting to come back a bit ripply, kind of hard to see them, which is another reason I'm wearing a cap. And CARPology don't do caps yet. Hopefully we will at some point, but which is why I'm donning the Carl and Alex cap. So a bit of publicity for you there, lads, and I know that you guys love your surface fishing as well. And then some Polaroids as well. So cutting through that surface layer, surface glare, you can see the fish a lot easier. So when I sat back here sorting out my rig for the bottom bait, I could see probably a good 15 fish in front of me. And then that one went off, of course, like I said, but there's still the odd fish down here. I've got two rods with me set up for surface fishing. One of them has a controller on, so I can get a bit more distance. So if the fish push out, I can reach them. But The other rod is it's a 10-foot rod with just a free line tactic. Still using the zig screw, just slide that straight on the main line, tie on the hook, cut it off, and you're done. Put your hook bait onto the zig screw and your free line, and so that's going to be my preferred method because they could be a bit finicky and a bit closer in. I want to not spook them off and try and fish for them right under my feet if I can. So I've got 2 rods ready so I could be quick if they move around, and it's time to try and get them on the surface. So I'm going to start off with some of the riser pellets, see if I can get some feeding going on, try and get them up through the layers, and then we'll start putting out some of the slicker floaters before I put my hook bait out. And the key to trying to catch these fish is not to overdo it and put the rod out as soon as you see one taken. Or try and get them feeding more competitively, then put a rod in, which could be quite difficult because we're still getting frosts at night and sort of mid to upper teens in the day. So the weather's all over the place, but I have seen some fish, and that's the start of the battle. So let's get these some bait out and hopefully get some fish. Now you won't be able to see it on the camera very well, but there's probably a couple of rod lengths out, a few fish just milling around just under the surface. Because I've got the Polaroids on, I can see them, but definitely not sort of right at the very top. So get your scissors and start off with some floater pellets. There's a few more to the left coming through as well, if I can get them interested. Even that was a bit far. Some just a bit. Oh, cool, I can reach them without the catapult, which is ideal. It's already starting to slick. I can see a bit better. Get the floaters ready. Get scissors again. I'm opting for free line to start with if they stay as close in as they are. It's got a little 10-foot rod, little reel, 10-pound zig flow main line, and again, that's just straight through to a size 10 hook with the little zig screw and a hook weight, which I'll show you in a bit. Once I've hopefully got some fish under my belt, I'll show you exactly how I'm tying this up, how I'm fixing the bait to the screw. But for now, it's a case of getting their confidence up, which is going to be the biggest part of today. There's a fish right here in the margin. Like under the rod tip close. He's just disappeared. There he is. Get bait in front of him. Go on, go on. Yes. Oh, I saw him just under the rod tips. And he was just on his own, taking the odd mixer. And I've got him right on the entrance to that little bay. They've been really, really finicky, so it seems to be the ones that just drift off the spot. It's a little common by the looks of it. Happy days. Oh, yeah, just on his own, taking the odd little mixer. I managed to flick this just in front of him, and he came straight up for it. Just finished my lunch, and clearly it's time for his. Oh, such a great feeling, free-lined. Just direct contact with the fish. Completely one of the simplest methods you can go with. And oh, he's off on one. Lighter tackle. Great fun. Apologies for the lack of dynamic camera angles, I'm on my own. Come on. You look beat. Yes. Happy days. One on the free line. So this one still isn't happy about being caught, but as I just said, this one came on the free line tactic. I was trying to feed him out in the main body of water. I just clocked one fish by itself, swimming only a rod length out from the bank. He went right into the margin where some of the biscuits have fallen. And as I was getting the rod ready, I heard him slurp one. looked up, couldn't see him, and I just saw him in the edge of the reeds, and he disappeared again. I flicked it in where I thought he was going to be moving, and within a couple of seconds, this angry, rather gnarly little common, who looks like he's had a lead hit him on the head at some point in his life, came up, snuffled the bait, and we were in. So just a lone fish by itself, taking the odd mixture on the back of the wind, or not on the back of the wind, sorry, where they drifted. So although I'm feeding out there, it's always worth looking around, scouting about, looking where fish are feeding. And as I've got the 2 set up, so one free line, one float, this one was so close in, it was a case of flicking it in his direction, just ahead of where he was going, and he was away. Happy days. I'll check the hook point, check it's all good. If not, I'll change it over. It's so simple. I'll show you how easy it is. I'll show you the setup I'm using for the free line, get him back, and hopefully get a few more. Happy days. I'll just slip that one back, put a few more riser pellets out and some more floaters, and there's the odd fish going around. But again, they're not feeding confidently. That seems to be when the floaters drift into the margin, that's when the odd fish just nicks a couple of biscuits, which is what got me that bite then. Hook point is absolutely fine on that rig, so it will be going straight back out. But I just thought I'd just quickly show you how I'm tied. I'm just show you exactly how simple it is. So I hope you can see it all right on this camera here. Let's get some of this stuff out of the way, make it nice and simple. So as I said, I'm using the Zig Flow. I'll just take a little amount for now because I don't need to tie up a whole rig. Although actually, go on, I'll tie up a second surface rig for the controller setup. So it's probably a few foot long. Cut it at an angle that gives the cut bit of line a bit of a point to it, so that when you get the zig screw like I've got here, it goes on a bit easier. So you slide it on sort of kicker side first, goes on like so, sorted. Let's put the scissors on there, stop it blowing away, and get your hook. As I said, I use a really simple method of attaching my hook. There's all different knots you can try, and some people prefer different ones. I just go for a simple 8-turn blood knot. And it's worth saying that this is exactly the same way as I tie up my free line method as I do the surface method. So there we are, through the eye of the hook, 8 turns. 1, 2, 3, speed this up, 6, 7, and on the 8th turn, I go back through that initial loop, like so, start to put it tight, wet it, and pull that knot down, nice, and tight like so. There we go, knot complete. Now just to make sure that's set in, get your hook or your puller tool, your scissors, whatever, knock it in. Just do this a few times, little jolts, the sort of thing that you'd expect to get in the fight when the fish shakes its head, just to really bed that knot down and sort it. So that is in nice and snug. Trim off the tag end and get the zig screw, slide that down. Now this slides on pretty easy because it's a very small hook, but just moisten the hook, especially if you're using a slightly bigger hook, and slide that on like so until you've got the kicker just covering the knot, and you've got the zig screw kind of directly above the hook point, if that makes sense. So that is it. That if I was free lining, that'd be straight onto my main line and I'm done. It's time to attach my hook bait. As it is, this is going to end up being a backup rig for my controller setup. So all I do is figure of 8 loop knot this side, like so. Attach a little tail rubber or anti-tangle sleeve, sorry, so I can attach onto a quick change swivel, trim that down, and there we are. That'll be, I attach that onto the quick change swivel on the float. Simple as that. Now to attach the bait, because it's got the screw on there, you can just screw these baits directly on. Because you've got a little bit of a bit of like a, I don't know, a slightly thicker section at the base of the screw, to make it sit as flush as possible to the back of the hook. It's a pair of scissors, or if you've got a little sort of boring out tool, something you'd use to add a bit of foam to your hook baits, just knock a little bit out of it, like so. Put the screw in there and start twisting away. And as you'll see, where I've made that little hole with the scissors, that slightly bigger barrel part disappears, and there you are, you got your hook bait really flush to the back of the hook, and that's what you want. You can adjust this little kicker to how you want to open the gape slightly, and that's it. That sits on the bottom of the water, on top of the water, sorry, the hook just below the surface with the hook bait covering the most of the hook is a silhouette, and that's all I'm doing. Simple as that. So that's the spare ready. I'm going to try and get the fish back on the surface. Now I've got a family of ducks in the swim, and hopefully we'll have 1 or 2 more before I head on later. Well, I'm having an absolute nightmare in my main swim. The ripple is just killing it. I've just come on the back, it's literally the other side of my swim, like behind me. There's a few out there. And it's much more slack water. Oh, he's taking it instantly. And there's a few fish milling around, and I've actually got some taken right there. So I'm going to spin the camera, see if we can get one. Still sticking with the free line method. I should be able to reach them. Right on him. And they've gone. They're so finicky. And there were 3 of them there feeding confidently. Yet as soon as my hook bait landed, they were off. Go on, he's making a beeline for it. Go on, you know you want it. You know you want it. Turn. Up. Go on. Yes. Oh, those islands are undercut. There he is. Oh, finally, this one beeline for that. So it paid clearly to bring all the rods in, have a walk round. I got a few fish taking biscuits on the straight bank, but again, it's in the ripple. Took one, cleared off. It's the only place I saw a few, and this is where my biscuits have been drifting through this little channel and out the back, and there's some fish sitting right in the little channel where you can't fish. Must be 5 or 6 of them just taking the biscuits that are coming through, but the ones that aren't getting taken by them are drifting into this bit, and there's been a couple little groups of fish going round. Quick frenzy and then clear off really quickly, and I must have made about a dozen casts trying to put them on the nose of them, but the breeze is really being a bit of a pain because it means my hook bait is moving far too quickly to act natural, so it has to be a fairly quick bite for it to act natural. And this one landed in front of this fish and he made an absolute beeline for it. I thought he missed it first, it's sort of on his nose, but when he sucked, it sort of brought the bait round and straight in. And that's why I love surface fishing. It's such a visual way of fishing. And this one feels alright, to be honest. Again, apologies for the static camera angle, but I like to think I'm an alright cameraman, but not too easy when it's just you. That's a nice common. Probably the biggest one of the day. Off it comes. Come on. They got a fly in my ear. That's a nice double. Now this one wasn't actually feeding with the main group. He was probably a rod length off them. That's a very nice fish. I want to get you in. And that can sometimes be the case that the slightly bigger fish hang off, don't compete, because they're a bit more wise than to bother with that and get the odd freebie. Here he comes, come on. Oh, one more lunge. The thing is with this swim, because it's so small, one bite has probably killed it. So I have to go back to my main swim again, which is fine with this fish under my belt, if I get it in. Here he comes. Come on, buddy. That is a very nice fish. Hooked right on the lip. In you go. Oh, I made up with that. Very nice fish. There's a lovely, Lovely mid to upper double. Happy days. This is a rather nice fish. Cue the hat here. But lovely. So free line once again. It took me several casts because they were being so finicky, and also the wind, as I just mentioned, not my own, which is also rife today. But the wind was just pushing my hook bait around so badly, and it was just, it would land, and then the rest of the biscuits would be sitting like this, and mine would just be going through. So I couldn't leave it there long. I had to keep making casts to try and counteract the movement of my hook bait. And this one, sitting at the back of a load of fish, was partial to my freebie. He didn't want to compete with the rest. He was kind of sitting at the back of them all, following all in, and when they didn't take certain biscuits, he was taking the odd one. And it's a lovely long common. Absolutely nailed it in the top. Well, it's in the top curtain. Pop that out like so. There we go. Hook bait's come off. This is soft. Perfect. Flick that out of the way. And this is the biggest one of the day. Easily upper double, I'd say, and also just as lively as the rest of them. So this guy clearly not happy at being hooked, but he's made me very happy. So that's 3 fish today, 2 off the top, 1 off the bottom. But yeah, it's been hard work getting them off the top, I'm not going to lie. It's not like you stick these products out and they'll play ball. That's never the case with fishing. Fishing is real and hard work at times, and this certainly has been, but it's paid off having a little walk around, looking for some fish that are feeding elsewhere, and these guys were just at the back of the wind and up for a few dog biscuits and floaters. I didn't need to use the riser pellets this time because they were already on the surface, so just a few more floaters, and this one slipped up. And I can hear him slurping the freebies in the margin right now. So there might be a chance for 1 or 2 more bites, but the way today's going, I won't be too fast. I'm happy with that. Let's get him back. Well, after that bite, I've come back to my main swim and it's just looking very, very bleak. I mean, the wind's picked up again. There's nothing out there other than a few little silvers coming up. So I think I'm going to cut my losses there. Hold the outro. I had to do 1 more cast. Well, I say 1 more cast. Got 40 more casts back in this swim where I had that nice common. Been extremely frustrating. But free lined once again. Eventually got one right on the nose of one as it was coming along, and he just snuffled it. After this, I know it's the common comment, 1 more cast. This will be the last one. I get this one in and I've got to shoot on. That's what surface fishing does to you. It's very, very moorish. And enjoyable, which is exactly what fishing should be all about. Come on. Come on. Get your head up. Happy days. Lovely scaly mirror. End off the day. And that's, like I said, we can get them feeding again. Surface fishing, probably one of the most greedy methods when they're really going for it. You're never satisfied. Well, that is a nice way to round off the video if I don't get any more. Well, I was just doing the outro. I've just done the outro. And it's meant to be the end of the session, but you know what it's like. You see a few fish feeding, you cannot ignore it. And I'd still had the free line rod set up, of course. Came round and it was extremely frustrating, to be honest. I must have made 40 casts, I reckon, until eventually I got it in the right place. And this guy came along. He's making a beeline for it once again. So if you get it in the right place, you'll get a bite. Just quickly unhook him. Absolutely nailed once again. Wasn't coming off, right in the corner of the mouth. So those zig screws have got a lovely little kicker on them, which gives you the better aggressive angle. There we go, hooks out. And they've all seemed like they've just woken up from their winter slumber because they've been giving me right battering on the mat. But this is another lovely fish. I think you'll agree once he lets me hold him up. Again, another low double, this one. Lovely, lovely fish. Scale pattern on it. Both sides are different, so I'll show you both sides. But free line tactic, once again, great fun and a great way to spend a few hours on the bank although a few hours is extended into quite a few more hours, as it always goes with surface fishing. Just show you the other side as well, because it's a lovely fish. There we go, there's the other side. Absolutely lovely fish. Right, it's getting back and I will be going home now. Cue the rest of the outro. But it's been a good little trip, trying to get them off the surface. First fish off the SUP in this year, so it's been quite a while since I've done any surface fishing, and it's just such an enjoyable method of fishing and made so simple with products like I've been using today. So if you are interested in what I've been using, then please do head over to the Nash Tackle website and have a look at them and maybe pick some up yourself. But more so than that, get out there and try and get some off the surface yourself. If you haven't done it before, try it. It's such a good method of fishing, so fun. And even though it's frustrating today, when I did get those bites, it's so worthwhile being able to see absolutely everything as it happened, and such a simple method. It's so accessible to everyone. Free-lined floaters onto their noses and getting bites. So it really is a good fun method of fishing. Remember, if you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to us and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any future uploads. Also follow us on all the social media platforms coming up on your screen now. But for now, cheers for watching, and I'll see you again soon.